Slow push in on the character's face as the first word hits. The eyes catch light for the first time. Cut to black for exactly 1 frame before the gym appears. The pause lands harder than any music cue. The camera drifts left as the character turns right, 2 directions that never meet. A calendar flips on the wall behind them, each page faster than the last. Time moving, but nothing changing. The character stays perfectly still while everything around them accelerates. Stillness as resistance. Smash cut to the mirror scene. No warning, no transition music, just the reflection arriving. The reflection holds 1 beat longer than it should before the cut, something in the eyes. 3 question marks appear one at a time, each with its own silence before the next. The silence after the third question stretches 2 seconds longer than comfortable. That's the point. A slow zoom out reveals how small the character looks inside the gym. Scale as a feeling. The gym walls close in slightly as the character shrinks, not moving, just becoming smaller. Cut to the character's hands. They haven't changed either. The camera tilts down to the floor, then back up. A full stop in the middle of a thought. The word lie appears and burns away in the same motion, leaving only ash and silence. A diagonal wipe, fast, aggressive, the old belief sliced open by the new one. Push in hard on the P symbol as the welcome line drops. The brand arrives like a statement. 5 dots appear in sequence, each one a small breath before the full 5 are lit. The character raises one hand, and the transition cuts on the exact frame the arm reaches full extension. A blink transition. The screen closes and opens like an eye, from the old story to the new one. The program cards fly in from all sides and land chaotically. The overload is the message. 1 card slides away slowly, drawing the eye. Everything else disappears around it. The steering wheel spins freely in empty space. 1 full rotation, then cut. A slow zoom into the steering wheel's center reveals it connects to nothing. The camera holds. 2 groups of trainees appear from opposite sides of the frame. They meet in the middle. They reach the same finish line from opposite directions. The camera pulls back to show the identical result. The results bar fills to identical height on both sides. A pause before the cut. 3 icons snap into frame one at a time. Each arrival is a small impact. The program card dims slowly as the 3 real variables brighten around it. A quiet transfer of power. The character shakes their head once. The camera holds on the motion before following. The disconnected steering wheel spins one last time and disappears. It never needed to be there. A slow exhale in the camera movement. The shot expands slightly as the fatigued truth arrives. 2 versions of the character appear side by side, and the gap between them says everything before a word is spoken. The suffering visual arrives on a hard cut. No warning, just the pain. Adaptation arrows pulse from the body in waves, each wave a little further than the last. Random icons scatter across the screen and then snap into a clean line. Chaos resolves into structure. The pain sensation icon chases the character across the frame. They keep choosing it. The soreness cloud drifts in slowly and the character doesn't notice. The obliviousness is the story. Exhaustion meter fills to red. The camera holds on the red for 1 full second. Then the results meter appears. The 2 questions appear sequentially. A pause between each one, not for effect, but because the answer takes time. Darkness creeps in from the edges of the training scene. Training blind has a visual weight. A plate of food slides into frame from the left. It arrives casually, like the character doesn't think it matters. The ambiguity label materializes out of fog above the plate, slow enough that it feels familiar. Nutrition numbers fly in and out of focus. Precision arriving and dissolving before it's grasped. The body's precision system activates with a low hum shown in the movement. Inputs matter now. A vague meal and a precise meal appear side by side. One glows, one doesn't. The BMR calculator slides in from the bottom of frame. Grounded, practical, not dramatic. The surplus arrow lifts the bar slowly. Not a celebration, just a fact. The deficit arrow lowers the bar with the same calm, direction, not drama. Protein fills the meter from left to right. The camera follows the fill rate, not the end point. The scale appears and the camera lingers on the numbers before moving. The data is the story. 4 steps appear one at a time, each arriving only after the previous one settles. The ambiguity fog rolls back and the framework stands in the cleared air. Clarity as arrival. The runner stops at the finish line, camera on the feet, not the face, then a slow tilt up. An underground root system appears in silence, the adaptation lag introduced without announcement. The invisible progress glows through the skin's surface, warm, subterranean, patient. Neural pathways light up in sequence, the firing pattern its own kind of music. The hormone chart rises frame by frame. No jump cuts, just the slow climb. Week 8 appears on the calendar in bright cyan. The date circled with a hand that knows something the character doesn't yet. The ghost of the Week 8 self stands just ahead, visible to the viewer but not to the character. Two paths diverge. One person steps left, one steps right. The camera stays wide to hold both. The Week 6 departure happens off the right edge of frame. The character just walks out. The finish line materializes 3 steps ahead of where the character stopped. The timing is cruel. Invisible progress meter fills completely in silence. No celebration because no one is watching. The threshold between invisible and visible progress is a single frame. Blink and you're past it. A self-doubt shadow appears behind the character. It matches every movement with a half-second delay. The extra rep is visible as a ghost rep that the character doesn't complete. It just floats there unclaimed. A dessert icon drifts in from the top right corner, small, innocent-looking, and lands on the meal. The phone screen stays on past bedtime. The glow is the only light source in the frame. A compound graph builds frame by frame, each tiny deduction stacking silently until the total is visible. The prediction thought bubble fills, and then the result matches it exactly. The camera holds on the match. The cycle wheel begins to spin, slowly at first, then faster. The loop accelerating. The glass of the hamster wheel cracks at one point, a thin line that the camera finds before the character does. The training log fills one number at a time, week 1 to week 4, each entry its own small breath. The scale trend line draws itself across the frame, not plotted, but drawn, like handwriting. The belief thermometer rises in real time. The camera stays on it long enough to watch the change happen. Behavior arrows shift without being pushed. The automatic nature of belief-driven action made visible. 5 crossed-out icons slam down in rapid succession. Problem 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stated and struck. 5 solution icons rise to replace them in the same rhythm. The answer matching the pace of the problem. The not a talent problem label shatters in slow motion. The pieces hang in the air. DNA double helix crosses out itself. A clean self-refusal of the genetics excuse. 90% of the crowd dissolves left. 10% remains. The camera stays on the 10. The motivation flame burns bright and then dies in real time. The viewer watches the full arc. The discipline glow holds steady beside the dead flame. The contrast does the work. A progress bar fills across the bottom of the frame, the viewer's own completion being acknowledged. The pointing finger arrives in the exact center of frame. It points at the camera, at the viewer. The subscribe icon pulses once. Not a flash, just one pulse like a heartbeat. The next video card drifts in from the right, arriving like the next chapter always does. The final brand pose holds for 3 full seconds, longer than any other shot in the video. A slow push in on the gym while the character stays still. The environment changes around a fixed point. The training wheel spins but generates nothing, one full revolution in real time before cutting. 2 athletes move toward each other across the frame. They pass through each other without collision. The 3 variable icons orbit the character slowly. The camera rotates with them. The overload gear turns 1 click. The camera cuts on the click like a sound edit. The recovery moon rises in the top right corner, unhurried, consistent, inevitable. The full cycle diagram breathes, expanding and contracting like something alive. The new adaptation arrows fire outward. The camera follows one arrow to its endpoint before returning. Comfortable routine swallows the character slowly from below. The frame fills before a cut rescues them. The rep counter advances by 1. The camera holds on that single number before anything else happens. The program card tumbles out of frame. The edge catches it and it disappears cleanly. A blank training journal appears. The camera lingers on the emptiness before the character picks up the pen. The pen hits paper and the first entry appears. The camera zooms in on the number being written. A nutrition label materializes around a food item the character is already holding. The information was always there. The uncounted bowl sits beside the counted container. The camera drifts between them. The filled log and the empty log appear together. The gap between them is everything. Body composition arrows split apart, muscle up, fat down, a clean diagonal divergence. The protein timing clock moves through a full day, each meal moment lighting up in sequence. A meal prep container snaps shut. The camera cuts on the sound of the lid. The surplus scale tips slowly. The tipping point is 1 frame, but the camera catches it. The deficit scale tips the other direction with the same frame. Symmetry as principle. The body's response arrows fire immediately after the correct input. Cause and effect without delay. The iceberg graphic builds from below, the hidden mass appearing before the visible tip. Week 8 arrives on the calendar from below frame. It rises into position like something earning its place. A seedling breaks the surface. The camera holds on the first moment of visible growth. The character's week 8 ghost solidifies slowly into something real, the threshold of visibility. Strength numbers write themselves on a whiteboard, each one slightly higher than the last. The external body shows no change, while the internal diagram transforms, split screen held without comment. A hormone chart and a mirror image appear side by side, one moving, one not. A sensor scans the body and reports improvement while the mirror reflects the same image, the dual reality. The mirror finally shifts. A subtle change, one frame of difference. The camera catches it and holds. A gray filter descends over the training scene, not dramatic, just slightly dimming everything. The avoided extra rep floats beside the character as they walk away. It follows for exactly 3 seconds. A dessert icon lands on the meal and the character glances at it. The glance is the story. The phone glow stays on. The camera holds on the glow until it becomes uncomfortable. Tiny deductions build on a compound graph. The camera pulls back slowly to reveal the full damage. The prediction and the result align perfectly. The camera holds the alignment before cutting. The hamster wheel accelerates. The camera spins with it until the viewer feels the loop. One crack appears in the glass. The camera finds it before the character does. A single number in a training log, circled. The camera zooms into the circle. The scale trend arrow draws itself downward. The camera follows the line. The belief meter shifts by 1 degree, the smallest measurable change that changes everything. Behavior gears click into alignment. The camera cuts on the click. 5 problems slam down in sequence. The rhythm builds until the 5th lands. 5 solutions rise at the same rhythm. Mirror image of the problems. The genetics double helix unravels. The camera watches it come apart without commentary. A crowd thins to 10%. The camera stays on those who remain. Motivation flame burns full screen before dying. The death takes longer than expected. Discipline glow holds in the center of the dead flame's space, still uncertain. The viewer's completion bar fills 1% at a time. The camera acknowledges it. Subscribe pulse appears and holds, not flashing, just present. Next video card arrives from the edge of frame. It approaches slowly from further away than expected. The final pose holds 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5, longer than the viewer expects. The gym fades around a fixed character, environment dissolving while identity holds. A wheel turning without connection. The camera watches the full pointless rotation. 2 silhouettes crossing the frame intersect and emerge unchanged, parallel paths visualized. 3 icons orbit the character. The orbit slows as each one settles into importance. A gear click changes the entire training visual. 1 mechanism, 1 result. The recovery moon holds in frame while the character trains below. Patience above effort. A growth cycle expands and contracts, the rhythm of building made visible. Adaptation arrows extend outward. The camera follows one all the way to its target. The comfort zone swallows the character from below. The camera watches until the last moment. A single rep counter advances. The camera holds on the new number. A program card tumbles and disappears. Clean departure, no drama. A blank journal page fills the frame. The pen's shadow appears before the pen. The first entry appears. The camera stays on the handwritten number. A nutrition label builds around existing food, information arriving where it always belonged. 2 containers compared. The camera drifts slowly between them. 2 logs side by side. The camera holds the gap. Diverging body composition arrows. The camera follows the upward one first. A protein timing diagram rotates through a full day. The camera tracks each meal moment. A container snaps shut. The cut happens on the sound. The tipping scale holds at the moment of balance before choosing direction. The opposite tipping scale mirrors the first. The symmetry is held in frame. Input and output arrows fire in sequence. Causality made visual. The iceberg descends below frame. The camera follows it down into the invisible. Week 8 rises into frame. The camera waits for it to settle before moving. A seedling emerges. The first moment of surface breakthrough held in silence. The week 8 ghost gains weight and solidity. The camera watches the solidification. Strength numbers accumulate on a whiteboard. The camera stays close to the handwriting. Split screen of internal change and external stasis. The camera holds without explaining. Hormone chart rising while mirror stays flat. The dual timeline held without resolution. A sensor scan and a mirror image side by side. The camera moves between them slowly. The mirror shifts by 1 frame. The camera finds the difference and holds it. A gray filter arrives. The camera adjusts exposure to compensate, dimming the whole scene. An unclaimed rep floats beside the departing character. The camera follows the rep, not the character. A dessert icon lands. The glance lasts exactly as long as a decision takes. Phone glow holds. The camera waits for a cutaway that doesn't come. A compound damage graph builds. The camera retreats as the scale becomes clearer. Prediction and result overlap. The frame holds the coincidence without narration. The hamster wheel spins. The camera rotates with it until the loop feels real. A crack appears in the glass. The camera finds the crack before announcing it. A circled number in a training log. The circle drawn in real time. A trend arrow descends across the scale display. The camera follows the direction. A belief gauge moves one notch. The camera holds on the notch. 2 gears mesh. The cut happens at the moment of engagement. 5 problem icons arrive in a rhythm. The 5th one lands hardest. 5 solution icons rise in the same rhythm. The mirroring is exact. A DNA strand unravels itself. The camera tracks one strand as it falls. A crowd dissolves leftward. The remaining figures are in sharp focus. A flame burns full frame. The death happens in real time without a cut. A steady glow occupies the flame's former space. It was always going to outlast the flame. A completion bar fills frame wide. The acknowledgement is proportional to the effort. A pointing finger extends toward the lens. The camera doesn't retreat. A single pulse from the subscribe icon. The camera holds after the pulse. A teaser card drifts in. The camera gives it enough time to be read. The final pose locks into position. The camera holds until the scene has said everything it needs to. A slow creep forward into the character's chest. Something important lives there. A gear turns without output. The full revolution completes before the cut. 2 paths diverge. The camera stays at the fork rather than following either. 3 icons settle into orbit. The camera slows as each one finds its position. A single gear click. The cut lands on the sound, not before or after. A moon holds above a training scene, the patience of recovery made physical. A growth cycle breathes. The camera breathes with it. 1 adaptation arrow travels its full distance. The camera follows. A comfort zone rises. The camera watches until the character is submerged. 1 number advances on a rep counter. The camera gives the number its moment. A card disappears off the edge. The camera lingers on the empty space. A blank page fills the frame, the weight of emptiness before action. The first handwritten entry appears, the act of recording treated as ceremony. A label materializes on held food, knowledge arriving in the hand. 2 containers sit in frame. The camera oscillates between them with equal weight. 2 records sit together. The camera holds the space between them. 2 arrows diverge from one point. The camera follows the upward arc. A day rotates through protein moments. The camera tracks each one without rush. A lid snaps closed. The edit happens on the sound's peak. A scale tips at the exact balance point. The camera holds the moment of choice. A scale tips the other way. The mirror movement carries meaning without words. An input fires and an output responds. The sequence completes before the cut. An iceberg's hidden mass appears below the waterline. The camera descends to measure it. A date rises into frame. The camera waits for it to stop moving before cutting. A surface is broken for the first time. The camera holds on the brake. A ghost becomes solid. The camera watches the weight accumulate. Numbers increase on a whiteboard. The handwriting is human, unhurried. 2 realities hold in the same frame. The camera doesn't choose between them. 2 timelines run in parallel. The camera moves between them evenly. A mirror changes by a single frame. The camera finds the change without pointing at it. A filter settles over the scene. The camera compensates until the dimness is undeniable. A ghost rep trails the character. The camera follows the ghost. A food decision moment. The glance duration is the story. A glow persists past bedtime. The camera waits. A damage total builds. The camera retreats until the scale is understood. A coincidence holds in frame. The camera doesn't explain it. A loop accelerates. The camera spins until the viewer has felt the loop. A fracture is found. The camera reaches it before the character. A circle is drawn. The camera watches the pen complete the arc. A downward trend continues. The camera follows the direction, not the destination. A gauge shifts. The shift is the entire story. 2 gears connect. The engagement is the cut point. 5 impacts arrive in sequence. The 5th is the heaviest. 5 rises mirror the 5 impacts. The symmetry settles the argument. A scan and a reflection coexist. The camera holds the contradiction. A final frame locks. The camera holds it until the silence becomes part of the image. A long, slow push in on the chest of the character. Something is building there and hasn't surfaced yet. The training environment dims 1 light at a time. The character doesn't notice, the viewer does. A single grain of protein falls into an empty vessel. The camera holds on the grain. A sleep clock resets to 0. The camera watches the hand return to the start. A muscle fiber visible beneath the skin tightens by 1 degree. The camera is close enough to see it. The factory doors crack open for the first time, a sliver of light from inside. The camera finds the edge. A training session begins in total silence. No music, no effect. Just the character moving and the camera watching. A structure dismantles itself. One strand falls and the camera tracks it. A crowd thins. The ones who remain are in sharp, deliberate focus. A fire completes its arc. The camera watches the full burn. A constant presence occupies the fire's space. Patience outlasts passion. A bar fills completely. The filling is proportional to what was earned. A lens receives the pointing finger. The camera doesn't move away. A single pulse holds. The camera holds after it. Something approaches from the edge. The camera makes room for it. A belief gauge moves half a point. The camera stays on the gauge until it settles. The gym floor is empty except for the character. The camera looks down at the shoes that stayed. A muscle tear appears and then closes. The camera watches both, the destruction and the repair. The character's shadow grows slightly between frame 1 and frame 60. The camera notices. A rest day is shown, the character still, the body working, the camera watching both. An early morning training scene, low light, the world not yet awake, just the character and the camera. The 4 variable icons arrive one at a time, each one welcomed into frame rather than announced. A late-night training session and the character alone, the camera holds the solitude. A week closes, the camera holds on the final day before turning the page. A new week opens, the camera enters it slowly, as if it hasn't been earned yet. The gym empties around the character, everyone else leaves. The character stays, the camera stays. A growth arrow points upward and to the right. The camera follows it all the way to where it leads. Something in the character's posture changes by a fraction. The camera is the only thing that catches it. The week 1 mark appears on a wall. The camera pulls back to show the wall is long and mostly unmarked. A protein gram accumulates in a container. The camera watches the total build across a day. The training log closes after an entry. The camera holds on the closed cover. A silent moment between 2 scenes. The camera holds in the in-between where decisions are made. The training ends. The camera stays in the gym after the character leaves, holding the space. A meal is prepared. The camera watches the hands more than the food. Sleep begins. The camera holds on the closed eyes, knowing what's happening beneath them. The body rebuilds, shown from within, the camera moving through muscle tissue as though it has permission. A new rep record is set. The camera holds on the number for 1 breath before continuing. The viewer's journey begins. The camera points forward, not at the character, but down the path. A moment of doubt, the character pauses, the camera waits to see what they choose. They choose to continue, 1 step forward, the camera catches the step. A brick is placed, the first real one. The camera holds on the mortar drying. Another brick. The camera holds again. The rhythm of building is the transition. The wall is half built. The camera pulls back to show how far from nothing they've come. The wall continues. The camera shows only the hands now. The work is what matters. The wall is complete. The camera holds on the finished structure before turning to what it's protecting. The factory runs at full capacity. The camera moves through it without stopping, just witnessing. The character looks into the distance. The camera follows the gaze and finds nothing yet. Just potential. The P symbol dims, not to darkness, just to a quiet glow, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything. The screen lingers on that quiet glow, a little longer than it should. Then it fades to black. The results are visible. The camera holds on the mirror for the first time, really holds. The character looks at the reflection. A long look. The camera doesn't interrupt. Something crosses their eyes, recognition. The camera catches it and stays. They turn back to the camera, not triumphant, just clear. The camera meets them there. The 4 pillars hold the character from below. The camera moves from pillar to pillar before settling above. The channel P glows at full intensity. The camera moves into it slowly. The last thing that speaks. The frame holds, longer than any other. The silence after the last truth is always the loudest. The camera begins to pull back, slow and unhurried. The character growing smaller in the space. The character holds the frame alone. The space around them is the result of everything they didn't cut.